Hello everyone, Latif here. Welcome to Code with Laticotech. In this video, you are about to begin your journey into the Python world. Yeah? Exciting, right? In this tutorial, you're going to know everything you need to start programming in Python. Now, to support me, all you have to do is to subscribe to my channel at Laticotech GH, okay, so that I can do more of this tutorial for you. Now we're going to begin with lesson 1. Now in this lesson we are going to know what Python is. We're going to know what Python is, and then what makes Python better than other programming languages. We also get to write and execute commands in Python. We will also look at how to install Python onto our computer. Then we look at the Python IDLE. Then we can check what Python can do, okay? And then we also look at how to install a code editor, okay? Now Python will be the programming language, and we need something to help us write that language, and that is what we call the code editor, okay? Right, so let's get started with the first lesson. Now, what is Python? Python is not a snake that we know. Yeah. All right. So Python is a simple, high-level, general-purpose, and object-oriented programming language. Okay. It is an interpreter-based scripting language. Okay. So it's not just an object-oriented programming language. It's also kind of a scripting language, okay? That is why we can use it to develop some web applications. Now, Python programming language was developed by Guido van Rossum in 1991, but it is currently owned by the Python Software Foundation. Right. Now, what makes Python better than other programming languages? One, it is easy to learn. It is an expressive language, just like your own language that you are speaking. It is an interpreted language, okay? As you code, you see the results displayed, okay? It is object-oriented language. It is focused on the objects. It is open source language. It is extensible, okay? Python is extensible. It is embeddable. You can't embed it in other languages. It provides dynamic memory, okay? It provides dynamic memory allocation, and it also supports the GUI programming, that is the graphical user interface. Then Python source code is freely available. You can get them online, right? So that is what that's what makes Python better than other programming language. Now let's look at how to write and execute commands in Python. Okay, now to write and run Python programs interactively, you can either use the command line window or the Python IDLE, which is the integrated development learning environment. These are like the editor that you can use to write the Python program, and we will look at this one very soon. It comes with the Python. The moment you install Python, you get the Python IDLE installed in it automatically. It allows editing, it allows you to run, browsing, and debugging to get to see if there are some errors in the Python program from a single interface. That is what the IDLE do. However, later on I'll show you how we can install another code editor. Okay, there are a lot of code editors, but the one that I use is Pycharm. So later in the lesson we'll look at how to install it. Now, next thing that we're going to do is how to install Python. Now, to get Python, you need to go to Python, www.python.org. okay, so let's quickly take a look at this. So the moment you come into python.org, you go to downloads. Now currently we have 3.121. that's the current version of Python. Then you click on it, then it starts downloading for you. So that is basically how to download it. Now we're going to look at how we can install it. Okay, so the moment you download it, you just go ahead and start installing it. Okay, right. So on this note, I'm going to show you how to install it. I've already downloaded it here, so I'm just going to install it, which is this one, Python 1.2.1. There are other versions like this one here, so all you need to do is double click on it. Now, one important thing you need to note here is don't go direct to click on install. What you do is to select, tick this one, add Python XCE to the path. Now, this makes it easy for other editors that you install to be able to identify the location of Python, and makes it easier for you. So the moment you tick this one, you then click on install now, then you accept this one, and then you allow it to run, and then it is installed. Now remember, Python needs to be installed first before you install any code editor. All right, okay, so that is basically how to install Python. Now you can have different versions of the Python installed, from the older versions to the current version, but how it does is that you need to install the older version step by step. So maybe if you have 3.7, then the next is 3.8, 3.9, 3.10, 11, and then 12 in that succession. So that, because usually when you are trying to install an older version on top of a new version, a version that is higher than the other one, it would not give you, it will not allow you to do that installation. Usually that is the error we get when we are trying to install it. So you have to make sure you install them in succession. But any of the version that you install, it will be able to work perfectly for you. So that is how to install your Python. So it's almost done installing. All right, so let's move on to our next lesson. Now after installing it, okay, then we're going to look at the IDLE itself. We're going to use that one to run some what you call a code, and then we'll see how it works. In Python IDLE, you can get the same results as you get whilst using the Python shell. So what you do is that after installing it, you need to click. So I'm just going to look at, so it's done installing. That's why you can see setup was successful, so you click close. So what you do to launch the IDLE, you click on the start button. That is if you are using Windows. Then you can type IDLE. Now the moment you type IDLE, you are going to see IDLE Python, then you see the name of the version. If you are using 7, then you see it there. So I'll just click on the start button, and then I'll type IDLE. Now you type, you can see this. So this is a version here, that's 3.1. okay, so we can use that one as well to do our coding. So I'm just going to click on it now. So in the Python shell, you are going to now, so this is the shell. Python shell has been opened for you. So what you need to do is that you have to start a new file. You can code here, but what we do is that you need to create a Python file, and then you code. It's like you are developing a program, a file on its own. Okay, so what you do is that you click on the Python shell. So what you do is to select file, then new file, to open the Python script editor. So that will not help you to do the scripting on it. Then you write the statement. You can save the file first before you can then execute it. Okay, so what you do is after creating the file, you save the file, and then you execute the program that you've run on it. Then the output will be displayed on the shell. So let's take a look at that. So watch here. This is our shell. Let me just show you this picture here. So there are two things here that we are going to do. Okay, so quickly let me run that. So this is the shell here. I can just code here and say hello. Sorry, code it hello, and then it prints. It automatically prints it here. The reason why we will learn about this code marks here, you can see some error here, is that it is a string. But let's go and then open the editor. So I click on file, then click new. So if you want, you can save before you start coding. So you can just do this way and select what you call it, save as, give it a name. Maybe you can just call it my first program. I like to type all, if I'm naming a file, I like to type everything without space. Okay, or you can type them with the space if you so want to do. That is when you are naming your file. And let me just save this one on my desktop. So click on this to save it. Right now it is saved. So let's try to run one. Now we're going to run our first program in Python. So to run, there is something in Python, it's a key word in Python which is called print. Print means you are telling Python to display the result for you to see. Okay, you're trying to tell Python to display the result for you to see. So let's quickly look at that. I'm trying to see if I can increase zoom height. I was trying to see if I can zoom it. Okay, so let me just reduce it so I believe you can see from here. So to do that, I type it in lowercase print, then you open a bracket, you can either do a double quote or a single quote. So I'm going to type hello world, and then you close it. Now when you are done, you need to save what you just did. This time you are not doing save as, you are just saving it because you've already saved it. After that, you click on run to run module, or you can press F5 on your keyboard. So when I click on this, then you can see it has printed it out here for me. So when you code here, when you code in the the Python script editor, when you code inside it, it displays the results in the Python shell. So let's go over again. You can let it print your name. So print my name is Latif. So again, I've added a new code. So what I need to do is to click file and save it, or you just press Control key on and then S. That will save it. Then you run again. Like I told you, you can click on run, then click on run module, or you just press the F5 key and it prints it for you. So and the coding, I mean the display of the results, it is done line by line. Now if you watch here, this was the first code, so it's going to run this one, and then if there are no errors, it will run it, and then it will then go to the next line and run it. If there are errors here, it will give you the error message, and then it can skip to run this one too. So you get to see the error message, and then it will run the next one again. So this is how the Python IDLE works. Okay, so we'll be doing more coding in the subsequent lessons that we'll be doing. So don't forget to follow, subscribe, and then get to see more. Let's move to the next one. What can Python do? What do we use Python to do? We can use Python to do so many things. We can use it for prototyping, we can use it for software development, web application, web development, web application or website development, data analysis, data science, data visualization, data mining, system scripting, workflows, math, machine learning, speech recognition, AI, automation, 3D CAD applications, which is used for the designing, architecture, desktop application, and mobile application. So Python is something that you can use to do a whole lot of things. Okay, so next thing that we're going to look at is how to install one of the code editors, and that is, I use Pycharm for my programming. Now to get Pycharm, you can use VS Code or Sublime. That can also help you to do it. Okay, but I like to use Pycharm to do my coding. Now to get Pycharm, you go to jetbrains.com/Pycharm. So let's look at it. So you need to install these things. These are the prerequisite things that you need to install before we can continue with the subsequent lessons. So if you get to Pycharm, there are two versions here. We have the professional version, and then we also have what we call the community version. Now when you come here, you get to see the professional version, and this is full-fledged professional. It contains everything. For this one, you need to pay for it, and then the community one is free. But for this tutorials, we will need the community version. So what we will do is that when you get to this place, you click on download, and then you can see the first one is the professional version, and when you scroll down here you can see the community version. So you click on this and then it will start downloading for you. So when you are done downloading it, all you need is to install it. I've already downloaded it here, so you get to see it. So here is our Pycharm community, and this is a 2023 version 3.2. so you just double click on it to install it. I've already installed previous versions on this computer, so you can also install current versions on this one as well, so that you can get to see the flex of the software. All right, so on this note, we've come to the end of our first lesson of Python. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share this video to those who have interest in coding. Okay, so let me just take you through installing this one. You can tick these ones here. Okay, you can tick this. That will directly put this in this location. All right, then you click on next. Then I have previous editions there, so you can see the 2023.1. it is asking me if I want to delete them from my system. Okay, there are some files that it needs to delete. Okay, so you can do that because I already have them. I can do that, but if you don't have, you will not see this interface here. Okay, so you just click next, and then it will install for you. So that's how to install it. I don't want to uninstall them. I'll leave here, and like I said, this is the end of lesson 1. Take care and stay safe.